All right. I think we're good. Dr. Will, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
All
Great. Yes,
Yes, yes.
absolutely.
All right. It is the new year, January.
Good to
Dr.
right.
see
Will.
you.
Well, hello and good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Brian Knowles, Pam Perry, Sarah Black, Dr. Will Moreland coming at you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We
This first week we have really have to catch our breath,
and
right?
Peppy.
And Peppy.
Well, we actually get to exhale. How about that? We get to exhale, you know.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to know. Dr. Will, are you in Barbados, Arizona, Compton, Prague, the North Pole,
Right.
like the International Space Station? Like where are you joining us from in the world?
I'm in the beautiful city of Phoenix, Arizona today.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, maybe
Awesome.
it's like 70 degrees or so, or we'll get up
We're,
to
we're a
72.
little cold. We're a little cold today. It's about 65. They tripping today. They tripping today.
You know what? Just
Well,
go
that's
with
just like Atlanta. I mean, we were at 65, 70 just last week. You know, I had gone out and someone had on shorts. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But
I'll
I
take
mean,
it, though. I'll take
I,
it.
you better take it. If not, I'm gonna take it. You know, if you don't appreciate what you have, then don't worry. Guess what though? Dr. Will, by the way, I was so excited when I saw that you were going to be on the cover of Speakers because this is of all the craziness for 2020 and some of it carrying over into 2021 in the speaking industry. What an amazing kickoff to I think the way to set the tone, as we would say, for the year. So I love it. There it is. Hold it up one more time.
There we go.
And then Dr. Will has multiple. There it is.
He's a centerfold too.
Boom.
There you go. There you go.
You got to tell us what you were talking about with that apple there.
With the apple?
Yeah, that apple in that store here.
Oh yeah, that's my signature about living from your core. So every time I hit the stage with the apple, and I ask everybody, "Are you living from your core?" And when you look at the apple, most people just see an apple, but when you start living from your core, you begin to see apple pie, apple juice, apple fritter, apple candy, apple. And so when you're really in your zone, when you're really living from your core, you become unstoppable because you can just produce from so many different ways.
I love it. Yes.
I knew something had to be about with that apple. I was like, I know we're not talking about Adam and Eve, like don't bite the apple. Right?
Great signature talk. Absolutely. And if you guys listen, just listening to, his not even podcast, but you can get so much value just from listening to 30-second reels. The message is amazing from him.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not following, make sure you look him up on Instagram, definitely, just, and everywhere else. But I got to listen to him on Instagram, and it was powerful.
I got to give my man my flowers because so Dr. Will, thank you just for what you do in the speaking industry. I think there's a couple conversations that I will never forget when I first endeavored to start Black Speakers Network. And so everybody knows the story of me talking to Pam in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. That was story one. And when I called you, and to me, when I was looking around and just kind of navigating and understand this industry and the professional speaking space, you were just like a rock star. Put you on the same level as the Lisa Nichols, the Les Browns, and so I think to me it was something where I was like, okay, is anybody even going to take this thing seriously? And when you said yes to actually coming in and doing a training for us, that to me, BSN really became real. I'm like, okay, because I've been a trainer, I've spoken, but yeah, I wasn't. You just added to me so much, credibility to what we were doing. And in addition to that, your just spirit of partnership and the desire to see both me personally and the brand just continue to grow and thrive has been felt just over the years, man. So I wish we can put you. I'm so glad you're on the cover of Speakers Magazine. I wish we could put you on the cover of Times, Fortune, Man of the Year.
He'll be there. He'll be. Tell him, Dr. Will, you'll be there.
Brian, let me first say this, Brian. When I heard your vision about BSN, I knew, and this is what I told you. I said, you got something, man. You just got to stick with it, because what I saw was that you were filling a gap. And whenever you fill a gap, that's where greatness is created. And I knew inside the speaker industry, there was a gap for Black speakers. And the thing that really encouraged me about what you were doing, we have some of the most creative, innovative, motivating, and inspiring speakers from our culture, but we weren't getting the due. I'll just be honest. We weren't getting the due there. And this is not, to put any disparity on any other organizations, but I mean, we do things a little bit different, right? We got a little bit of different flavor. We got a little bit of, and this swag. Is what I was always telling, a little swag. You got it, Pam. and Pam has been in that gap for a long time, like highlighting our swag, right? Highlighting our swag. But then BSN came and said, you know what? We're going to put the real light on it. And so from what you're doing, man, from literally when we were in California talking and you were like, man, I'm on my job. I'm thinking about quitting. I said, BSN is going to allow you to quit your job, man. BSN is going to allow you to quit your job if you stick with it. And I saw that so I'm just so proud of you, man, and what you're doing and what BSN is doing. Like, I look up and I'm like, man, we just talked about this a year ago. And like,
that is
Brian is like the god of speaking now.
Yeah, that's micro in a year. Clients who've been trying to leave their job for like 5 years. I'm like,
right.
You're gonna be in retirement pretty soon. Really? Come on. Let's speed it up. Let's go. Brian
burnt the bridges. Brian burnt the bridges. He said, I'm out. I'm out. Do or die.
Yeah, burn the ships, man. It will, all appreciate it. And it's and this is the thing. My entire this entire foundation is laid, in my opinion, on 3 things. So it's like partnership, community, and systems. Like those are the 3 pillars that the organization stands on. And this is what we do here with Speakers Magazine. Incredible. That's why I was like, yep, official magazine of Black Speakers Network, easily. Like, I don't have any I think it takes a person that isn't concerned about what's that quote? It's like, you can do anything that you want if you don't care who gets the credit. Like, that's where I'm at. I'm like, yo, whoever is best suited, like, to be editing videos, to be doing storytelling training, to be doing publishing, like, I do not want to do it all. I just want to create the ecosystem to allow people to connect to the people that do it. And that's
the key. None of us can do it all on our own. And that's why community is so important in building that ecosystem, so that you can do exactly what you do and do it well, and then allow others to help everyone else get along. So yeah, hopefully no one expects they could do it on. And that's why our community is so important. You have got to have a team of people to help you get to the destination. More than one.
One of the quotes too from Zig Ziglar is that you can get everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. Mm-hmm. And that was always just a quote that just stuck with me all the time. That you can. It was set up that way. God set it up that way, that we need each other, that we help each other. And so when you help enough people get what they want, then you get what you want. And that's just a really good attitude to come from. And that's what Brian has. That's what you do.
But yeah, but I want to talk about Dr. Will. I don't have any speaking questions for Dr. Will. I got a bunch of lifestyle questions. Like,
let's go, man. Let's go.
But I'm just excited because you're officially retired from speaking, correct?
Yes, sir. So it goes back to my core message that I've been sharing from the stage, like really living from your core. And where I come alive, Brian, is really working with other speakers and consultants and authors. That's where I really come alive. Like just this morning, we just started a new coaching program, and I invested an hour and a half with them this morning. And that's where I really come alive, the one-on-ones and really helping other people. When I got to doing the DISC test, the DISC assessment and everything, I'm really an encourager. I'm really a pusher. I'm really a supporter. I'm fine with being in the back. Now, I realized for me to be able to do what I'm doing now, I had to step out of my comfort zone and get the mic and grab the mic for exposure and things like that. But then when speaking allowed me to get the to get the leverage and to build the platform where people knew me, people knew what I was about, and now they're willing to invest in the coaching programs. It was an easy choice for me to say, you know what, I just want to really focus on coaching. And so at the beginning of 2020, I officially retired from, on the stage now. I still do some stage stuff, but literally I'm not going after it anymore. Like I don't go after intentionally go after stages anymore. We're just building up the academy, the Genius Speakers Academy. And I'm just having real fun doing that. So it allowed me to move to the island earlier this year. So we're doing the bi-coastal, the bi-country thing. So we do a couple of months in St. Martin, and then we do a couple of months here in Phoenix. So I'm really enjoying life, man.
I love it. I love it. St. Martin. That's what I'm talking about.
This is the dream. And I think the thing I love about your journey is that, you haven't been, this hasn't been like a 50-year journey, right? It's been more like 10 years, right?
It's been 10 years. So prior to joining the official speaking ranks, I had been a pastor for 8 years, and I was pastoring in Germany. So I lived in Germany for 15 years. I was pastoring in Germany for 8 years. And then I had kind of a Damascus Road experience. I'm looking in the mirror one day, and it wasn't that I didn't love what I was doing. I didn't like what I was doing. I just felt there was something different I was supposed to be doing. And so at the time I was pastoring 3 different churches. Everybody thought I was crazy. And I leave Germany. I moved to Phoenix. I'd never been to Phoenix before. I just felt as though that this was going to be our promised land, our land of milk and honey. And we started to build that platform. I started reaching out. I don't even know if Pam remembers this, but 10 years ago, like when I moved back to the States, literally what you did, Brian, I looked and said, okay, who are the game changers in this industry? Okay, it was the Les Browns. It was the Lisa Nichols. It was the Pam Perrys. And I reached out to them and said, hey, I just want to get into the speaking industry. And graciously, they began to support what I was doing. And then
I remember that first book.
Yeah. And then I just started really, for me, I started asking myself this question. What is the difference? Like, what is allowing Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, to earn $10,000, $20,000? And why am I getting gift cards? Why am I getting pats on the back? Like, we were similarly saying the same thing. A principle is a principle. What goes up must come down, So you talk leadership, you talk motivation. We're pretty much saying the same thing. So I'm like, okay, is it longevity? Do you just got to be in this thing for 10 years? Do you got to be in it for 20 years? But what I found out was they were operating off of a system. It looked like they were just going out there doing their thing. But I had an opportunity to do a couple of masterminds with Les Brown. I had a couple opportunity to do a couple of things with Lisa Nichols. And I found out, oh, okay, they're running a business. They're not just out here hoping and wishing somebody hires them. So I turned my attention to running a business. And I said, okay, what is it that they're doing that's completely different than anyone else? And it simply came out to 3 things. Their positioning, they knew what their advantage in the marketplace was, and it was their marketing. And I call it, watch this, the PAM formula: positioning, advantage, and marketing. The PAM formula. And so that's what I teach now.
I'm going to be up in there all the
time. and so, my mom.
I will say this at the very beginning, just so that any speaker just starting out will not feel like, oh my God, I'm a loser. I remember meeting Les Brown and Lisa Nichols at the beginning of their career. And they were speaking and they were getting pat on the back, especially from churches, and they were getting chicken dinners in exchange. Now, this is at the very beginning, but at the very beginning, they had to really go out and test it and see how the response was to their messages and how people receive them. I remember Lisa, and one of the things that Brian said about what is the foundation of BSN was partnerships. Les and Lisa were very good at networking and partnering with people. I remember when I first worked with her, it was African American Chicken Soup for the Soul for African American women. And she went across the country with that book with no real budget on how to do that for free. Yes. And she called me at that time and asked me if I could help her because Lisa is so engaging. I was a publicist at the time, Ministry Marketing Solutions, right? She asked me, could I help her? She's not getting paid, and could I help her for free? But because you love her, you say yes, of course. So you give her names and numbers and things and help her with media, because at the very beginning, she's just starting out. But you meet her years later and she's on the road and rocketing up, and she never forgets. And that's the thing with anybody, any speaker who's out here. You may start here, but as you go up, don't forget people where you started, people who helped you along the way, people who offered that olive branch and say, hey, you can share your platform, or I'll share my secrets or resources. And she never forgets. And so you look at someone like Cheryl Wood or any people, George Frazier, they keep together because they network and they keep the community. Like Brian said, is partnership, is community, is people coming together, not being jealous of each other, but helping each other. And then once you get there, you pull people in with you. That's the whole point of this whole thing. I feel like I'm preaching today. What's going on here?
So it sounds like that's absolutely part of the speaker's journey when you start off. You know, you are going to get those gift cards, those chicken dinners, you know, until you get into that understanding the system. Or it is that if you work with Dr. Will, you can skip that part of the journey and get right into the business. Is that correct, Dr. Will?
Well, no, let me say, because I want to say, so people always ask me, hey, should I speak for free? Should I speak for free? And I always say, absolutely. And free for me is an acronym as well, right? So it's not always about money. Sometimes you're speaking and you speak for free and it's about the exposure, right? Sometimes you speak for free and it's about the relationship. Sometimes you speak for free and it's about the experience. Like right now, if Oprah asked me to come and speak, Oprah doesn't have to pay me. I'm going to go speak for free. So I don't want any speaker, even at the highest level, there's going to be some times where you still speak for free because the opportunity to get in front of your ideal client or the opportunity for exposure is there. And so I'm never exposed to speaking free. I just want to make sure that you understand at some point, it then has to turn into a business. But all throughout your journey, you're always going to have opportunities to speak for free, right? You're always going to have opportunities, but it's not always about the money. It could be for exposure. It could be for experience. It could be to build relationships. It could just be for the frequency, what Pam was talking about. Like I'll even do that now. I like to think of, we're closely as speakers, we're close to comedians. And what Kevin Hart will do, he'll go out and work some stages to work some jokes, right? Well, that's as speakers, that's what we have to do too. So I'll have a concept and I'll call the local chamber or the Rotary Club and say, hey, I got this topic that I would love to share with you guys. I'll do it complimentary because I'm working on some material. I just want to see what the engagement's going to be. So free is always going to be a part of your strategy.
I love that. I love that too. Let me ask you this. How about we change the narrative from free to waiving that fee? And it was suggested that you still send them that invoice so they could see what it costs, but you, in return, you may get something else. You may get that exposure. You'll grab the logo. You may get video clippings or whatever. But to know, because when you think free, some people may tend to think you get nothing out of it. And what you're saying is there are still things to get out of that. You just have to be strategic and aware enough to know exactly what you get. But I love that comparison to comedians. I absolutely love that.
I think that's part of, where we spend a lot of time in Black Speakers Network. And one of the reasons why, Dr. Will really helped set the foundation, because there's a difference between being a public speaker and being a professional speaker. And so what Dr. Wills always shared with us is best practices on how to build a speaking business. And I remember when you came and you talked about, you know, dominating your local market, and you talked about like building relationships just within Phoenix. Like everybody's trying to like be an international speaker, trying to go across the world, but like, bro, how many organizations are within 20 minutes of your house that you haven't even talked to? And so I think the whole goal, what you says here, is like strategy, like what is the end game? And so helping us, you've helped us level up how we think about these opportunities and what happens, you know, 2, 3, 4 steps later versus, oh, I'm just looking at this person's event and they don't have a budget. So what, you know, what does that mean? And so I really appreciate that level of perspective that you consistently bring, and moving away from this narrative that the longer I'm in business, the more that I realize that there's very few times where stuff is black and white, like good opportunity, bad opportunity, you know, good person, bad person. Like there's areas of gray. And as an entrepreneur, you have to learn the nuance and learn what's most important to you, what's going to make the most sense for you, your business, both short term and long term, instead of just looking at what's immediately going to make the most money.
You know, Brian, let me say this, and something to just keep echoing what Pam talked about. One of the things that I realized as well, that this whole success in speaking is really built on relationships. Like I realized earlier on, there were going to be some stages I was not going to get to simply because I didn't have the relationship. It wasn't about how good I was, how bad, it was because I didn't have the relationship. And so when I learned that, like, oh, okay, it wasn't like I was spending so much time trying to get better as a speaker. It was really about relationship. Like if this person is commanding this stage, they're going to bring in their friends, they're going to bring in their colleagues. And then maybe if you did something extraordinary, like land the plane in the Hudson, then you'll get on and, you know, a stage where you don't have the relationship. But for the most part, your money, your revenue is in relationships. Let me say that again. Your revenue is in relationships. And when you realize that, that's why the local market is so good, because at any time I can pick up the phone, talk to my local newscaster and say, hey, I would like to come on and talk about this topic. Because we have a relationship, they let me come on. Because I go to the chamber, I know all the businesses. So when they're looking for a trainer, I set my business up to be their local trainer. You don't have to fly anybody in. I'm in Phoenix. I know the fabric of Phoenix. I know the layout of Phoenix. I'm going to be able to use examples that are specific to Phoenix. And then let me say this as well. So many speakers have this grandiose idea, right? That everybody's going to be a $1 million speaker and all that kind of stuff. What you really need to figure out is, what do you need to finance your life? Like, how much do you need to finance your life? Figure out that number and then go after that. For most of you guys, I mean, if you did a solid 8,000 a month, that would be good. And that's what I call the 2K keynote. If you develop a 2K keynote that you can pitch to local businesses, most businesses are willing to invest 2K. They're not willing, you know, they'll get a little bit leery about 5,000 or more. But if you do the 2K, like even if you were awful, they're like, okay, we wasted 2,000, but it wasn't that much. Like you can all day long knock on the door and get a 2K keynote. That's a lunchtime training. That's a employee, you know, development training. That's a back to work. You know, you can do 2K all day long. And if you create a system that allows you to get 4 to 5 of those a month, you're 8 to 10K speaker. You're a 100K speaker. But because I'm trying to hit a home run, I miss out on getting the first base, because I'm always trying to get the Lisa Nichols 25K. I'm always trying to get, you know, the Les Brown 25K. Like, once again, those are anomalies pretty much. That's like Microsoft, McDonald's. But man, that mom and pop burger shop be popping. You know what I mean? That mom and pop be pop. Like, I consider myself the mom and pop. You know what I mean? I'm not the McDonald's. I'm the mom and pop, man. I'll 2K you to death.
Can everybody put like 2K keynote in the comments? Like,
Listen, I'm taking notes over here. I'm taking notes. 2K keynote.
I just want everybody to see that. Like everybody, I'm called Eric, Keandra. Keandra's on here too, by the way, Dr. Will, one of your genius.
My girl.
Yes. Everybody watching, Bianca, Lisa, everybody just put 2K. I just want people to be like, what's going on? 2K.
And the other nugget he dropped, he said your relationships is your revenue. Those are the two things.
That is really it.
And 2K, I love that.
Can I say this about relationships, because this is coming from
that's what you're built on. That's right.
This is an OG perspective. So George Fraser.
She said the OG. Oh, I love that. She said the OG. You know, that's my language. I'm from the hood, so you know that's my language.
So you know, from the East Side Detroit, so that's one of the things.
Stand up.
So George Fraser is my mentor. He's been my mentor for many years. Anything that George says, I will do. I will support him. I will endorse him. I will invest in the relationship. A relationship, when you say that, okay, I have a relationship with someone, it's not like, can you just give me their number? Can you do an email introduction? Thank you very much and goodbye. It is continually caring about the person, really understanding who they are, knowing their family, send them a Christmas card. I mean, it's like going beyond just being shallow, like, oh, I know them on social media, I follow them on Twitter. That is not a relationship. That is just really peripherally knowing someone. We're talking about relationship, revenue, networking, really understanding who people are and really caring. And they are, you know, you always say that your income really is the sum of the 5 people that you hang around, but you really have to be intentional about who you allow in your space and who is going to have your back, who is going to be for you, who won't be frenemies. You know what frenemies are, that look like they're friends, but they're really your enemies. They're trying to really steal from you or that sort of thing. So just really understanding the revenue is in relationships. I know media people that I can call from CNN to PBS to NPR that I have had friends for over 20 years. Ed Gordon is one for over 20, 30 years.
Oh, and yeah, I meant to ask you for Ed Gordon.
And I passed them by, right? Because yeah, that was the issue that you know, this issue here, right? This one here, and then you got Brian. You know, these are friends, and these are people that you can text and call, and you're concerned about them, and you're not just what I call using people. I want to understand the relationships aren't what people you use. You don't use people. You connect with people. So I just want people to understand that when people understand when you really have their back, when you're going to do something for them and not expect anything in return. That's love. That's really what we're talking about. It's love. And so in this group, and Dr. Will said this earlier, he says, it's not that there's other groups that don't do those type of things, but people do things for people that they know, like, and trust and love, that they have an affinity for. That's why Black Speakers Network, that's why we have to work together. That's why George Fraser does a power networking conferences. That's why, because we want to get together. We want to support and endorse and encourage each other and inspire each other. And that's really important, because I may have a contact that can unlock the key to something you've been praying about for a long time. And it's nothing for me to do, because I like you, I trust you, I know you. And I know that you would do the same for me. So that's really what we're talking about.
I think that's the key. You define the relationship, but also not only who's willing to show up for you, but who you show up for. And when you talked about how Fraser is your mentor, you said anything he says, anything he needs, you are there. So that relationship has to be twofold, has to be reciprocal. And you're right. It's just not a matter of who you know or getting a number, but someone that you're willing to show up for just as much as they show up for you. That's the relationship.
Yep.
Philip Seaman said, "You preaching."
And Brian, can I say this? Let me say this, and I want to go back and hop on what Pam. I want to give George Fraser his flowers as well. George taught me early on about humility and always staying relatable and touchable. And so, Brian, that's why even when you reached out to me, it was easy for me to communicate with you because of what George Fraser taught me. I had the opportunity to speak at the White House, myself and George Fraser. We spoke at the White House, and that was my first time meeting him. And I knew before then, like, man, he's a giant. He's a giant in the industry. And he gave me his card. I'll never forget this. He gave me his card and he says, Will, if you ever need something, give me a call. So I don't know if some of you guys remember this, but there was a Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio was like the OG podcast, right? Yes. And so I started a broadcast on Blog Talk, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to swing for the fences. I'm going after George for my first guest. And I'll never forget, I called that number, and I'm thinking I'm about to get a secretary or something. And I called the number, and it was George. And he answered the phone, and I was shook, like, I was like, hello, may I speak to George, right? He's like, this is me. He says, hurry up, I'm on the golf course. And I'm like, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm Will Moreland. We spoke at the White. Yeah, Will, I remember you. What's going on, man? I said, hey, I'm doing this radio program, and I'm trying to make it. He was the first one, so I'm trying to make it seem like it's something big, right? And I'm like, I got this Dr. Will Speaks radio show. We're reaching millions through broadcast, you know. And I said, would you be a guest on my program? And he said, sure. Tell me the date. Email me the date. And he was my very first guest, man. And so he always reminds me, man, no matter how big you get, stay touchable, stay relatable, right? Don't become bigger than the relationship. And so I'll never forget that. And now years later, man, we've shared stages together. He did the endorsement for my book, man. And so it's all about relationships. And I see this in our little culture, man. We want to get the big head, right? Like, you know, let me check my calendar. Let me, you know, come on, man. I just asked you where you get the T-shirt from, man. Where you get the T-shirt from, man? Oh, let me get to my VA. Let me check, man. Just tell me where you get your T-shirts made, man. Man, I'm not about to stop your game, but I just want a T-shirt made. And so let's help each other. Let's build each other, because there's so much. Brian, you say this all the time. This is a $50 billion industry. And if everybody is listening to us right now, if every one of you guys were earning $10 million, you still wouldn't put a dent in it. It wouldn't stop nobody else from doing what they need to do. That's how much abundance is out there. And so even when I saw you connected with Pam on the magazine and with BSN, I was like, that's what the industry needs. We need to see collaboration at this level, because I've been able to go on the other side and behind the door, and that's all they're doing. That's how they're winning the game, through collaboration and relationship. They're just working together, and they're saying, come on, you come to my stage, I come to your stage in June, you come do my thing in September, and we boom. And that's how they're winning the game. Nobody is doing it by themselves. They're just all collaborating.
That's it. That is so it. Blog Talk Radio.
Do you remember that? That was the OG Blog Talk. We were on Blog Talk.
I had ET on Blog Talk Radio. I had Kirk Franklin, Reverend Ron on Blog Talk Radio. I'm like, that was crazy back then. 2007, 2008.
We had
that was the OG stuff.
We had skills radio, the number one way for professionals to learn and grow. The number one show helping professionals learn and grow. That's what it is.
We were up from a teleconference on the phone.
All right, so I want to walk through this issue really quick. By the way, it's streaming. If somebody could drop the link in the chat, it's speakersmagazine.net. Speakersmagazine.net is where you go to check out the issue. You could access it for free online. That's what we're looking at here through issue. And
you can download
Dr.
it.
Will, you make a good cover, man. You on fire. And what's this background? Like, what's going
That's Pam, man. That's Pam, man. They made me look like a superstar, man. I told my mama. I said, Mama, I made the big time, Mama.
This is like Independence Day 3.
Hey, Brian, when I saw it, I called my mama. I said, Mama, we done made the big time. I'm exploding. I don't know if I'm lava. I don't know what I am. TNT, but I know I made it.
We worked on that pitch. I said, we could work with this one. You were like, okay. I was like, yep. For the new year, we got to come out banging.
Brian, you see this?
Oh,
Brian, you see this? I got it all over the house. I'm like,
bring it up, bring it back, bring it back.
Brian carries his in the car.
Look, I got mine everywhere. My kids are getting tired of me, man. Dad, do you have to carry it into the living room everywhere you go? Do we have to look at it at dinner? I'm putting it up everywhere.
There you go. That's the way you do it.
I told Pam when when I get pulled over, I just like they're like license registration. I just pull out the thing. I'm like, so are we done here? Are we done?
This is who I am. This is who I am.
I was trying to get every black man need to have one of them. Okay, every black man.
Brian, no cap.
Back to their car, right? You know,
Brian, no cap, man. Soon as Pam sent me the magazines, I put a few in the car seat. I put a few on the front seat, man. I'm at the restaurant, just leaving it on the restaurant. The waitress is coming through. Is that you? Is that you on the cover? Yeah. That's me. That's me.
I mean, you know.
I love it.
You know, hey, you know,
I love it.
It's a subtle flex. It's a subtle flex.
Oh my God.
Brian, listen, man. This thing comes out 12 times a year. That means in a 10-year period, only 120 people out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet are going to be able to be on the cover of Speakers, man. And me and you are one of them, man. Come on, you think I'm not flexing? Come on, baby. You think I'm not flexing?
With Ed.
With Ed, Les Brown, George Fraser, Stephanie Mills. Come on, yes. Kim Coles. Are you kidding me? Yes. Come on, man. I'm from Compton, bro. I'm from Compton, bro. You know I'm flexing, man.
All day.
Now and speaking of, so the folks in here. So now we talked a little bit about your Genius Speakers Academy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
what's that video on the cover? Which one did I put on the cover for Will? Which one was that? To hover over the his video. Yep, there it is. See, what is that? Which one?
If I play it, it might get a little crazy.
Don't do that.
I'm already.
I mean, it was G-rated. It's not like I put it.
No, I'm not saying the video. Well, I'm saying the bandwidth in my computer. It's like I'm already pushing the limits of like technologically what we can do here in Tulsa. So, but what I wanted to say is that. Go make sure. I do want to point that out. So when you're looking at the issue, make sure Pam and Mark do such an amazing job of making this into an interactive experience. And so there are videos embedded in here. So when you go to the issue, make sure you watch them. As you see, even when you click here, you can see that there's a video to watch. So make sure that you do that. But within here, all the speakers here, all these individuals are from the Genius Academy?
Yes. Most of them, all of them except for maybe one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. All right, so we got Crystal Walker.
Yes.
Dynamic, man. She's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Love it. Mr. Daniel, how you pronounce his last name? Mangina.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I mean, doing some amazing work, man. All of these speakers, man, and what I'm really proud of, they're coming from literally all around the world. We got speakers that in the magazine from Kuwait, from Rwanda, from all across the United States, and each of them in their own right are doing. Michelle Sturgis here is a consultant, leadership consultant, doing some outstanding work, man. And I'm really just proud of all of them. And Pam and her team, they did a super job. And so if anybody out there is thinking about making that investment, you're on the fence about it, dive in, because the extra work that she does, anytime I'm in a magazine or whatever, I tell my speakers, when you're in a magazine, that's them lighting the fire, but it's up to you to keep the fire burning. Pam is one of the few people that do a lot of work to keep the fire burning, like doing press releases, putting you out over everywhere. So if you do your part, Pam is definitely going to do her part. There's no doubt that you'll make your return on investment in exposure and opportunities. I was pleasantly, this is the business side of it. Like, I wouldn't lie. Like, if I wasn't pleased, I wouldn't say it. I am pleasantly pleased at the production. I mean, she made everybody look like a superstar. The layout is just magnificent. And the team all throughout the journey communicated with us. We knew we were a headache, but they went over and above to make sure we look good. And I'm pleasantly, Dr. Dr. Tommy here, who's a 25-year Navy officer, is starting his consulting company, made him look like $1 million. And I mean, it's just amazing. I'm literally like, this is a project that I'm definitely pleased with. I'm excited to put these magazines everywhere. I'm going around Phoenix and I'm putting them in the barbershops. I'm putting them in the beauty. Like, I'm telling you, I'm on flex mode. Like y'all gonna get tired. Y'all gonna be like, wasn't he edition January? We all the way in June and he's still talking about his little watch. I'm telling you, I'm about to flex it. The whole 21.
For the whole
21.
Right.
The other speakers are gonna be mad at me. Pam, I'm the highlight for this month. And I keep seeing this January edition because I'm about to flex.
That is, you do have to leverage. You have to leverage your own PR. You really do. And one of the things we do, if you Google any of the speakers now, whether it's Michelle or Crystal, you Google their name, just their name, and Speakers Magazine shows up first on page one.
On page one, it surely does.
And that in itself is worth the investment. That SEO that goes into putting and highlighting these magazines, that in itself is worth the investment, if nothing else, to be ranked at number one.
Yes, as a speaker, with your video coming up. Okay, it's like, okay, it's your website, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, so she's a speaker. Let me click this. So it really does give a different positioning for you. So that's one of the things that I really, really like about that. I mean, it was only up for about a week or so, and it'll be on blacknews.com as well. And that's more SEO, and each speaker is listed as well. So there'll be a press release for that as well. So it's just a way to really make sure that people are getting the shine that they deserve because they are doing the work. But if no one really knows, like, read their bio synopsis and go and to their website so they can get traffic, it doesn't make any difference. So I always try to make sure that everybody has a speaker reel. Please have a speaker reel so that we can get traffic to that speaker reel. That's really the whole point. So they can hear you speaking.
And B, let me say this about CB as well. She did the interview for the article, and she's not, you do some interviews and people just ask you questions. She's a legit interviewer, and there's a difference. Like, I've done a lot of interviews and people, it's like watching paint dry, but she is an interviewer, and that's the game changer. And so that's what I liked about this project. Like, we have a fire cover, but we also have fire interviews as well. And so they make sure every piece of it, it's like you can go into the restaurant and the food may be good, but the bathroom looking tore up. I mean, this whole project was tight, like literally every piece of it. Like, I was pleased with the cover. I was pleased with the layout. And then CB, she did her thing. She made me look like a complete genius. She was throwing me softballs, making me look real smart. She didn't throw no curveballs. And she helped me knock it out. And then when I read the article, it was true to what we talked to, because a lot of times you can do some stuff. And you're like, what? I didn't say what? Like, what is this? And so she stayed true to my message. She stayed true to exactly what I wanted to communicate. She even did it better than I communicated it. So, I mean, the whole team, the whole squad, like if you're literally, and I'm so happy it's the January, because I told our academy, like, we wanted to come out banging for the new year. After the 2020 that we had, we wanted to come out banging. We wanted to come out on fire, and Speakers Magazine set us up. I mean, it just set us up. And so I'm tremendously, when I saw that right there, Brian, what you're showing right now, like, I didn't know how she was going to use the pit. I was like, man, I didn't even think about doing it like that. Like, ooh. And that's when you're working with a genius, right? You come to the table with your ideas, and then they just take it to the next level. Like, she's like, just give me the ingredients, and I'm about to show you I know how to cook. I'm from the east side of the D. I got this.
Right.
I got this. And they did it. Her and CB and the Mark and everybody, they did it, man. I knew Pam was I knew she was going to do her thing, but even when you're even more pleased by the result, because I was looking at the other covers and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh, I kind of want that cover like Ed did, or man, I want that cover that B did. Then she came out with the explosion. I was like, good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. And you know what? It's like one of those it's like one of those Jay-Z Magna Cartas, right? It's like one of those Magna Cartas. You gotta look at it for a minute, because I remember looking at it. I was like what is it? Is that people in the background? Is that what is that? Then I was like, is that a stage? And I just came like, it's fire. It's fire. It's whatever it is, it's fire, man. I was like, oh yeah.
This is 2021. We gotta dominate. That's what
it was like about. Man, it was like that Jay-Z, like you gotta listen to it, and then you like instant classic. Like instant classic. Oh, that's right there. That's instant classic right there, man.
So
thank you so much.
The reiteration of all of these things, because even working with Sierra, she's getting different headlines. She'll start with this, no, not this, no, not that. I mean, we work on it, and we really want to make sure that everybody has the right shine, because if it doesn't grab you, like you talked about our culture having swag, it's because we just have that soul. We just have that, it's got to come with it. So even like her headline said, what is your inner genius? The doctor wants to know. I mean, just like it pulls you in, like, oh, okay, what is that about? So so the whole thing of making sure each person individually has that. And, the personality for Michelle obviously is different. She's CEO of executive training consulting, so she's going to look like that. So her main thing is just really looking like what their personality is, because each one of them, they have their own pages. They can go to the website speakersmagazine.net and actually download their page and have it on their website, or put it wherever they want to put it, because it's their own page. But collectively, it is all of Dr. Will's students in here as well.
I like that we're able to do the. Oh, go ahead, CB.
No, I was going to say that's a fire issue. I didn't even know all those were his students, but that's a great, issue for the whole month for the entire organization. But I was just going to say it's back to collaboration. It's back to Pam's team and everyone collaborating and doing exactly what they do to ensure that that speaker, that person, gets to shine from every angle. From words to, headlines to background to everything. So it's a collaboration.
One of my favorite parts of 2020 was like our Don't Rush challenge. And
that was so fun with Cheryl.
So like international TikTok sensation, public speaker, legendary Genius Academy founder, Dr. You got another like pip to add to your thing. But I was like, this is really cool. Like when I thought about like Black Speakers Network, that was the thing. Like I looking at communities and being able to like, who wants to build an empire like alone? I feel like even if you build like a Shopify store, like there's so many ways to make money, I think, especially in 2020, 2021. There's a lot of ways to make money, but I think there's something special about being able to have fun, make money, and make an impact surrounded by people that you genuinely enjoy, like doing business with and being around. Like,
entrepreneur.
This is
like, it was absolutely my pleasure to be able to interview Dr. Will. I got more out of it than anything else.
Wow.
Right. I mean, I benefited from the interview. Forget I was there to work. I'm taking it all in, still taking notes to this day. So you're right. You really have to enjoy not only what you do, but who you're working with in order to make it work. And so back to the core. When you are working from your core, you are able to, produce that and engage in people on a very sincere level.
Mm-hmm. Well, we think about how brilliant Miss Helena Black is, right? So Helena, everybody else gives me a link, right? She gives everybody a link, and it's thinking like it's a video or something like that. I go to Helena's link, and she was like, "Welcome, Speakers Magazine guests. Here's your free download." I'm like, "Oh, she's smart. She's the only that did that."
She didn't even tell me she was doing that.
Yes.
She didn't even tell me she was doing that. She upped me. See, she didn't even tell me she was doing that. But
she upped everybody, because I had never seen that. She dedicated a special page like, "Hello, welcome Speakers Magazine guests. Here's your free download." I was like,
beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow.
That's what you want to surround yourself around, people like that. Up your game. Yes.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah. She was like, go here, and 7 keys to writing a business, life, and leadership book that sells. And it's just for people from Speakers Magazine, right? That was her link. I was like, okay. I thought it was a video.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Dr. Will, you got a
Yeah.
lot of love in here anyway. You got a lot of people that are just like, so excited that you're doing this. So I guess before we wrap up, my last two questions for you are, I guess one, and by the way, again, everybody go read the article, like lots of good stuff in there. What's top of mind for you kind of right now, 2021? And then also, if you don't mind sharing, the pandemic, where we are now, what we've been through 2020, in your opinion, just kind of seeing the landscape of the speaking business. We talked about the 2K keynotes. Is the pandemic, in your opinion, has the pandemic been a positive or negative thing for the speaking industry? Obviously, it's horrible from like a human health perspective and just whatever, but from where we are now compared to last year, what's your perspective there, and going into 2021?
I think it was, I'm looking at it as positive. And what I've been telling all of our speakers is literally what happened in the industry was a reset. So if you weren't really serious about speaking, or you weren't serious about building a business out, in 2020, you probably exited stage right? Now in 2021, we have this opportunity. Like literally, I've spoken to a lot of speakers, and I'm talking about, those that we admire, the big speakers. Everybody had to reset. So what 2021 allows is for everybody to kind of be at the same level. Like everybody's having to learn how to do the Zoom. Everybody's having to learn how to do StreamYard. Everybody's having to get the green screen and learn how to be engaging while you're online. So it's literally reset the market where you can now, if you're serious about dominating, you can literally get some serious leverage right now. There's some topics now, how to lead online, right? That's a topic any of us can be talking about. How to engage your employees online, right? Because that's where everybody is. How to run team meetings that are engaging. And so for me, I'm really literally excited. I mean, I'm really excited about the opportunities in the speaking industry. It took 2020 for companies to kind of reset how they were going to do training, how they were going to do their events, but we're coming back. We literally actually interviewed over 100 companies and asked them what was their take on doing events in 2021. Most of them are going to keep their events online. We asked them, are they still going to be investing in trainers and speakers? All of them, about 78% of them said yes. They were just trying to figure out, what it looked like. They're still willing to invest anywhere between, 3 to 10K for a training. That's what we're seeing in the market right now. Schools are still willing to pay anywhere between 2K, 5K for speakers to come in. So I'm really excited about what's going on in the market right now. It allowed us to reset and to relook at the market. But if you're serious about being a speaker, but Brian, you said this earlier, I always tell our speakers, don't just think from the stage. Like, don't just think from the stage. There's so many ways you can share your knowledge and share your information. In our academy, we have the 8-ladder step to building $1 million speaker business. And we just don't focus on the stage. We're talking about being a consultant. We're talking about coaching. We're talking about JV partnerships. We're talking about writing your book, having a online academy. So there's so many different ways you can share your information. Just don't think monolithic. Just don't think that being a speaker means I'm speaking from the stage. I have a program where I just train CEOs, and they fly in here to Phoenix once a month, and we work on their branding and we work on their communication with their company. And so they pay thousands of dollars to be a part of that program. So that's one way. So don't just think that I have to be on a stage or I have to be on a Zoom. You are a communicator. So there's multiplicity of ways that you can communicate. I have another program where I just work with athletes. So from being a pro athlete to being a pro speaker. And so that's a program just for them, because I realized they weren't going to come to the normal, speaker setup training, because, they got their sports ego type thing or whatever. But so I created a program just for them. That's the same reason why I did it for CEOs. I realized they weren't going to come to the normal training. They like to be in their own type of setting. And so you can do all types of different things. So don't get stuck. That's the key to winning. Don't get stuck.
Love it.
Love that. Can I ask a question before, because I know we're wrapping up time. Dr. Will, can you tell us about your academy program? How one can get started? And do you have to be a speaker already?
Yeah, so you don't have to be a speaker, and simply you can just go to drwillspeaks.com, drwillspeaks.com. And once again, a lot of people get tripped up off of just that word speaker, but you speak every single day. Every one of us are speakers. So if you're just a leader and you want to learn how to effectively communicate better to your team, if you want to build your own brand out, like I suggest anybody, if you're in corporate America, you build your own brand out, right? That may be your biggest client, your employer, but you still want to think of yourself as a personal brand. And so once again, drwillspeaks.com. Yep, that's it. Thank you. Go to the website, see what we're doing. We're working with all different types of individuals. One of my clients is a prime minister. And so he wanted to develop and be more engaging and inspiring as he's talking to his country. So he's a part of the academy. We have athletes, we have police officers, we have teachers. I have a teacher that just signed up.
I didn't get to write about your 11-year-old and your, is it 80-year-old client too?
88-year-old client, right? And so a gentleman was listening. His daughter was listening to me do Facebook Lives, and he overheard. And we were talking about your life is not over yet. And he told his daughter, get in contact with that guy. I want him to teach me how to do that. And so literally he's going around to convalescent homes, senior living homes, and inspiring his generation to tell them life is not over. You still got some living to do.
That is exactly why he has that background. That is powerful. You hear me? That is from his youngest to his oldest. The range of people that are working with him right now is just impressive. So congratulations to you, Dr. Will, for this cover, but for, as Brian already said, for all that you do for the community. Yes, there it is.
Y'all gonna see it all year. So get used to it all year.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Do you now? So first of all, that's all good stuff, and I just agree. Like, I get so excited every month we have an opportunity to do this. And so Pam, for the folks that are first of all, BSN and Dr. Will are joined at the hip. Wherever he goes, like if you move from St. Martin to like South Africa, if you move to like Egypt, like wherever you go, we're keeping it moving. Like this is, important. But I will say that we have so many new people in BSN, and they may be thinking, what the heck is Speakers Magazine? So Pam, could you just give a quick overview of how Speakers Magazine works? And then also share the link. And I'll put that up so that for folks right now, we're in January. So regardless of what month you're watching this, we have the monthly opportunity to be featured in Speakers Magazine. And so if you're part of the BSN community, we have a opportunity for you to do that. But can you just give an overview of how that works? And then we make sure we include that.
So Speakers Magazine going on 4 years old this year. And it is a magazine, the official magazine for Black Speakers Network. It is feeding and featuring speakers. We have articles that are trade articles just for our industry, but it also features you. So when I say features you, it features you on the website, in the physical magazine, and in the digital magazine. And so that goes to 85,000 people online in all of the social media and in press releases. I'm a publicist by trade, so I promote you. So if you're part of the Black Speakers Network and you are in Speakers Magazine, you are now what you would say you have your personal publicist that is promoting you. So you would know that if you've invested in Speakers Magazine to have an advertorial, then you know that you're going to have SEO juice on the website. When people Google your name, they're going to see you're officially a speaker, part of BSN, that you are a person that's serious, that you're going to be a person that really is taking their industry by storm, because you set yourself apart and set yourself aside as that person. And really, it's monthly. It's mailed out to media. It's mailed out to a subscriber base, because you can subscribe to it as well, to the physical magazine. And it's one of those things where you can actually get copies like Dr. Will and just kind of like floss them around like, hey, here's my magazine. I'm in the magazine. And so some people even have like little badges and things like that. Precious Williams had a plaque made out of hers. So you have your page, and it legitimizes you. It validates you. It really verifies that you are a speaker. And so we take you through the process of what we need for that. Dr. Will knows that we need a really good crisp headshot, several shots. We need a bio. We need certain things done a certain way, but I kind of take you through that, through the whole branding of that, so that your brand shows up great. And they can go to speakersmagazine.net/advertorial. Advertorial is that term where it's part advertising, but also looks like editorial. So yeah, there you go. So it's really that type of thing where it's there indefinitely. So we don't like, okay, after the month of January, we take all the pages down. No, it's there indefinitely. So it gives you good SEO juice. Google juice. Googleicious.
Googleicious.
Googleicious. Yeah.
And Brian, let me say something real quick, man. Like literally, like when you look at the magazines, I'm able now to say I've been featured in the same magazine that Les Brown, Cookie Johnson, Magic Johnson's wife, Kim Cole's actress, everybody knows her. So if you're on the fence, like this was for me, I told my academy, this was about marketing, right? This was about exposure and the benefits that keep coming from it. Like I didn't even know, like I saw some of the covers of the other articles. I didn't even know all of these other people were on the covers. So now I literally get to go on my website and say featured in the same magazine as a Les Brown. And so that's instant credibility, guys. That's instant credibility that is going to, okay, if you get one speaking gig based upon you being in this magazine, it paid for itself 10 times already. If you get one speaking gig. If you get a 2K speaking gig, it's already paid for it. Like, that's how I look at marketing. Like, okay, what is this going to net me? So I know by just showing this magazine cover that I'm on this magazine cover, when I send it out to prospective clients, oh, he's on the speaker's magazine cover. He must be a great speaker. You don't get on the cover if you're not a great speaker. That's what they're going to tell themselves. I don't have to tell them that. They're going to write the story themselves. So now they're saying, the name of the magazine is just brilliant. Like speaker,
yeah.
Like literally, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And as Pam said, it's there forever. Like in 2025, I'm still gonna be like, yeah. So I was on the cover of Speakers Magazine, and
I'll be like, bam.
Hit the website. You hit the website. Just Google it. Just
Google it, guys. So if you're on the fence, like if you're trying to jumpstart your speaking, Brian, you're talking about the new speakers. If you're trying to jump, I would say, before you really go invest in something else, like make this an investment, because it's going instant credibility. Like this is, your mama gonna be able to talk about you, your daddy, your sister, like they flexing, the whole family flexing. Like my brother's on the magazine cover, my uncle's on the magazine cover. Did I tell you I'm on the magazine cover? Like, I'm telling you, I'm like Al Bundy. You remember when he talked about scoring them 4 touchdowns
in one game?
Back in Polk High, baby. I was on the cover of Speakers Magazine. The same one Les Brown was on. The same one Cookie Johnson was on. The same one Brian O's was on. Yeah, I was on that cover. I'm flexing all 2021.
That is
real talk. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. And Pam, you just do such a phenomenal job. CB, every month just continue to put great content out there. But Dr. Will, we appreciate you. Congratulations on being on the cover. We definitely are excited about everything that's coming out of the Junior Speakers Academy. I think that as we move forward, this just represents another part of that like theme of, and I know you coined the phrase like dominate the decade. And that's exactly what you did. And now we're in another decade and you're helping so many other.
Trying to dominate again, baby. Trying to go back to back like the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah. And I will say that I think that now is timing is one thing that is very underestimated. You did a post about Elon Musk just recently becoming like the wealthiest person. And last year he was just making it in the top 50, like just squeaking by in the top 50. And now like he's number one. And so I think, there's something to be said about, being in association with the right people. There's something to be said about taking action, and there's definitely something to be said about taking advantage of timing. And right now, while everybody's home, and if you're not flooding the streets with content, if you're not getting in speakers magazines, if you're not, doing the activities that are going to get you in front of your target audience, then when the world opens back up, you're going to be playing catch up. So I think that this is perfect opportunity. So thank you. But we are done. Pam, did you have a final thought before we roll up?
I just want to tell people, just be intentional. It's kind of like what Sierra says about being strategic, being intentional and being strategic. Don't try to go into every place all at one time. Be intentional about what you want to do. You can get all involved in every new craze, Clubhouse to TikTok to Reels, but remember, true to your core is what Dr. Will says. Be true to your core and show up in something that's going to last and stay there. Clubhouse doesn't last. You can get in there, but it won't last. You'll just be in a room and then you'll just be gone. So, do something that builds your brand and will sustain and propel your brand. So that's all I have to say. When you're making those choices, make sure that you're making the right choices.
I love it. Final word, CB.
Just to piggyback off of that, I think, the bottom line, what I do besides, enjoying hearing people's stories and developing them, you have to be very strategic in anything that you do in your business. So it's all about action plans, blueprints. How are you going to get from A to Z? What are the tools? But more importantly, I'm all about community. What community are you going to be in that's going to help you to achieve your overall goals? And so those are things that we have got to, and that's why I'm very happy to be part of this community, because that's how we're going to really help people move forward. Right. The network, everything. So that's the bottom line, make sure you have a strategy and make sure you find yourself and find the right community for you.
Absolutely. Dr. Will.
Yeah, and let me give you a shout out, B. For everybody that's listening, when I started out, there was no BSN. There was no BSN. And so for BSN to exist right now, I'm excited. Everything I built 10 years ago, a lot of these things we did not have. And Pam just mentioned something. Let me share this with everybody. I know everybody's hot on Clubhouse. I've been through the gamut. We went, Pam, remember there was Meerkat, there was Blog Talk Radio, there was Blab. What I learned over the last decade, exactly what Pam said, don't build on the wrong foundation. If I tell people this, the number one mistake I made over the last 10 years, and I did fairly well, but the number one mistake I did not do was I didn't build on YouTube, right? I didn't build on the right platform. And so I put a lot of energy into Facebook, but it was capped on YouTube. And I have some speaker friends that when we talked 10 years ago, they were like, oh man, I'm about to do this YouTube thing. And I was like, man, I got 5,000 people on Facebook, man. I'm about to stay right there. They went on YouTube and I wasn't thinking that YouTube was open to the whole world. And so their brand was able to expand a lot quicker, a lot faster because they were on the right platform. So that's why, everybody every day asks me, Dr. Will, are you on Clubhouse? No, I'm not on Clubhouse, not getting on Clubhouse. I'm on YouTube. That's where I'm building up. That's where I'm staying.
Right.
Because I know it's going to last. I don't know if Clubhouse is going to be here 5 years from now. I was on Blab and did 50 videos and lost all my content because they went away.
Or Periscope. Periscope is changing too.
Periscope just went away. I was on Periscope. Periscope just went away. So I know YouTube going to be around. I know it may be boring. It may take a little bit longer.
Google owns YouTube. That's why.
Exactly. Google and YouTube are going to be around. So if I'm a betting man, build your platform on YouTube. That's my last words to you guys.
All right, and that's a great word to leave on. So I appreciate you, Dr. Will, Pam Perry, CB. Thank you so much for joining. Speakers Magazine January issue is out on virtual newsstands everywhere. Make sure you get it. If you're anywhere in the Phoenix, Arizona area, stop by your local barbershop, pick up one.
It's
Make
gonna
sure
be there.
make sure you see it. And
It's
we are over and out, guys. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank
See you guys
you.
next
up.
I
month.
enjoyed it. Love you guys.
Bye.
Absolutely.
One love,
Keep
man.
speaking up. Your audience awaits. We'll see you next time.
All right,
Bye-bye.